At some point in your life, you're going to need a lawyer. Lawyer Talk, where we talk to Atlanta's top lawyers about questions important to you. Here's Adam Goldfine.
Welcome to Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfine. Thank you so much for joining me on CW 69. This is where you get information about areas of practice of law that are important to you. The inside information that you need to be able to make an informed decision. And today we're talking with Todd Henningsen of Henningsen Injury Attorneys, one of the leading personal injury attorneys, not only in the metro Atlanta, but the entire state of Georgia. Todd, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, when we talk about personal injury,
yes,
this is an unplanned event.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so, and I'm going to just, all the nonsense aside for a second.
Okay.
People that call you, old, young?
Yes.
Black, white?
Yes.
Male, female?
Yes.
Unplanned?
Unplanned. It
Everybody.
Can happen to anybody.
Right. And
right.
It could happen in ways that it could be a slip and fall.
Correct.
A car accident.
Right.
It could be, God forbid, somebody hurting you. It could be a situation where you are hurt by the act of somebody else. Now, it may not be because they did something. It could be because they failed to do something. And so we need to basically undress and give enough information out to the audience so they have the information to be prepared, to know
right.
what to do. God forbid they're involved in a wreck. So
absolutely.
Or an accident. I'm going to need your help, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so here's what I want to do today.
Okay.
How does the individual know they have a case? Do they need an attorney? And what are the benefits, right? So
right.
we need to make sure that you know whether or not you need one so you can make an informed decision. And then how about this one? How much is my case worth? If in fact you have a case, and in fact you do or you don't need an attorney, what are you entitled to? What are the damages? And then finally, I'd like to know from you some of the pitfalls from your experience, some of the mistakes people
absolutely.
can make, so we can help you avoid making those mistakes. That's really the key, is giving you the information. Now, a little background. You've been practicing law for how long?
Over 10 years, a decade.
You have a tremendous amount of experience, an extremely strong case and track record here in personal injury in the metro area.
Yes.
So it's important to know that we want to bring you the very best legal counsel. And by the way, cool thing about Todd is the real guy. So when you see the number on the screen, no, seriously,
right.
If they want to talk to you, they can always call, right?
Absolutely. I will get on the phone and speak with you about your case and about your specific situation.
All right, so this is not a situation where you're watching a show of some talking head out of Hollywood and just giving opinions, and you can't possibly reach out to them with your question. The unique opportunity is for you to be informed, and if you have a situation that you'd like to be able to discuss with Todd, you're going to be able to do that. Stay with us when we come back. All the information that you need to know on Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfine. You're watching CW 69.
Hey everyone, welcome to the A-List. I'm your host, Shannon Wiseman.
Treetop Adventure is 25 aerial challenges, including 5 zip lines.
Where's the perfect place for man's best friend? It's the K9 Ranch.
So if baseball is your thing, Windward Baseball Academy is definitely for you.
Bam! Think I'll do okay? Yeah. All right, I ain't scared.
Oh my God!
I would like to welcome you all to Netherworld Haunted House.
The A-List, Sunday at 12:30 on CW 69.
There are over 2,400 Georgians involved in car wrecks every day. Over 100,000 Georgians are injured on the job each year. Who's going to protect your interests when an accident happens? Not the insurance company. At Henningsen Injury Attorneys, we're here to help. You didn't choose to be injured, but you do have a choice in who fights for you. You deserve an experienced attorney with a proven track record of success. If you have questions or want to understand the value of your case or simply need a second legal opinion, call us right now.
Welcome back to Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfine. I'm speaking with Todd Henningsen of Henningsen Injury Attorneys, one of the leading personal injury firms in the Atlanta metro area. Hopefully, you don't know who Todd is, because that means that you haven't been involved in an accident. That's a fair way of putting it.
Very true.
But God forbid they are.
Right.
The thing is, people don't know who to turn to.
Right.
All right. So I want to cover with you, and I want to go through some of the basics right off the bat, all right?
Let's do it.
Okay. So most common personal injury case would be what type of event?
Typically an auto accident is what we see.
Okay. Auto accident, people have coverages, right? They have insurance.
Correct.
They may have liability insurance. They may have uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, med pay, all different types of coverage. Real fast, what should I have? You're the guy, because if I came to you, You're going to want to know what kind of insurance I have and what kind of insurance the other guy had.
Well, let's go through them. You mentioned the big three. And the big three, the first one is liability coverage. Okay. That is mandatory coverage that you're required to have in the state of Georgia. And the minimum amount of coverage that you're required to have is $25,000. So you'll see the commercials for various insurers who say things like just get the minimum amount of coverage. I would never recommend that you do that. Right. Okay? That coverage is to protect you in the event that you hit somebody else.
So if I sue you, that's the amount that your carrier would protect you with.
That's correct.
And if I have a claim that's beyond $25,000, then I'm going to come after you personally for the difference.
That's right.
Okay, so it's like how thick of a shield do you want?
Right. And I will say this, everybody should look at what's called their declarations page and see what their coverages are. Raise them. Just across the board, raise them. Increase the coverage. If you have $25,000, make it $50,000. If you have $50,000, make it $100,000. It will protect you in that situation, and it's not double the price.
What about uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage?
That is what I believe is really the most important coverage that you need to have. But critically, to be legal, you have to have the liability coverage. Uninsured motorist coverage protects you in the event that somebody else hits you and does not have adequate insurance or does not have any insurance.
So I'm driving down the road, and some guy without a license and without any insurance smacks into me. I can't sue him. He's got nothing.
Correct.
So I can actually go to my own policy?
That is right.
So then I want that to be high because I want a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I could change that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the uninsured motorist coverage.
Yes.
And then what about MedPay? What's MedPay?
Medical payments coverage is like health insurance if you are injured in your car. It doesn't matter. It applies regardless of who is at fault.
So I get into an accident, whether I cause it or not.
Correct.
I can go and use that money even if I have medical insurance or I don't have medical coverage.
That's right.
Okay, so that's just extra. And that's really very inexpensive coverage.
It is.
Okay, so one of the first things, very important because you want to make sure you've done due diligence before, God forbid you're in an accident, take a look at your insurance coverage, shop it. Maybe you can find it for less money, but pay attention to the coverages. If you go penny wise and dollar foolish from the standpoint of lowering the limits and lowering the amount of coverage, you're really only hurting yourself.
And Adam, let me say this. It's typically too late after the wreck has happened to look at the policy and say, oh, I wish I had done that sooner.
Right. Please,
somebody that you know that's close with you, and hopefully not you, will be involved in a car accident that's going to affect your life at some point. And I'd ask that you get the coverage.
How do you know you have a personal injury claim? How does someone know?
Well,
I mean, what is a personal injury claim? So we hear all this talk, and I should call a personal injury attorney. Like, well, when do I need an attorney? When do I have a claim?
And this may sound basic, and I don't mean to.
No, be so simple with me.
You've been injured. You're seeking medical treatment, and you believe that you've received a wrong from somebody else.
Okay, so if I'm walking with a knife and I cut myself, then no, I'm not suing myself.
We all have that inner sense of what justice, right? Of things that have gone wrong. So if you've been in a car wreck that wasn't your fault and you've been injured, yes.
Then I have a claim.
Right.
And the idea of the personal injury claim, the whole idea behind it is to compensate me for the injury that's occurred. Is that the deal?
That's right. And I tell my clients this, true justice in this case would be building a time machine, going back and never having these injuries happen.
Right.
It's the hardest money that you will ever earn in your lifetime. And I put earn in quotation marks.
Right.
Because it will never really get you back to the level at which you want. I think that most people would trade all of the money in the world not to have gone back to
Okay, so, but here's what I want to do with you if we can, because there are lots of different types of damages a person can be entitled to.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So everything from maybe loss of time or pay or pain and suffering or medical bills, past, future, right? All different types of...
And punitive damages?
Okay, punitive damage as well. So what I'd like you to do is, if we can, I want you to explain to somebody, like if you're involved in an accident, somebody hits you, what are you entitled to? And then also, what is your case worth? Okay, because people want to know. Now let me also say that if somebody's watching the program and they say, look, I was hurt, and they're listening to this information, and they want to talk to you, could they call you for a free consultation?
Absolutely.
All right, so anybody sees the phone number on the screen. Now, two things with that number, two very important things. One, if you or someone you love has been involved in an accident and has been injured, please do me a favor and call and speak with Todd. Remember, the consultation is no charge, and we're going to go through fees and what things cost as well in the industry so you understand it. The second thing is, just like your insurance, you have to look at it, My advice, you take that number and you put it in your cell phone. God forbid you need an attorney. You need to have an attorney that you can call to make sure to protect your interests. Stay with us. We got more on Lawyer Talk.
There are over 2,400 Georgians involved in car wrecks every day. Over 100,000 Georgians are injured on the job each year. Who's going to protect your interests when an accident happens? Not the insurance company. At Henningsen Injury Attorneys, we're here to help. You didn't choose to be injured, but you do have a choice in who fights for you. You deserve an experienced attorney with a proven track record of success. If you have questions or want to understand the value of your case, or simply need a second legal opinion, call us right now.
You want an inside deal on a car, truck, or van? Then you've got to watch Autoscoop on CW69. I'm Adam Goldfein. Every week we go to car dealers around Atlanta getting you the very best deals, and it's only on CW69.
Hi everyone, I am Shannon Wiseman inviting you to join me on the A-List. It's the only show that goes all across Atlanta. It's got the hottest places to be, coolest things that you need to see. So join me each week on the A-List on CW69.
Welcome back to Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfein. We're talking with Todd Henningsen, one of Georgia's top personal injury attorneys. God forbid you need to turn to a professional. We want to make sure that you know who the best people in Atlanta are to turn to so you can get the information that you need and you can get the result that you're looking for. And I have to tell you, Todd has over a decade's worth of experience litigating and settling claims where unfortunately people have a terrible situation. And we talked about the fact that you try to get them the compensation that they're looking for.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get into the damages, which we're going to get into what people are entitled to, right?
Right.
What's their case worth?
Right.
First steps, if I've been injured, right? So after the accident, and let's just use a car accident as an example.
Sure.
Okay. What do I need to do? What are the ABCs? I'm in a wreck. I'm right there at the scene of the accident. What do I do?
Well, first and foremost, you need to call the police.
Okay.
To the scene. Okay.
So we're going to get a police report. We're going to have the police are going to take statements. I'm assuming
Right.
if the police show up, if I'm not being airlifted or ambulanced to a hospital.
Right, of course. Right.
Okay.
Make sure that you are documenting witnesses, photographing the vehicle. Make sure that you just understand what's happened. Have your insurance information ready and available. Report the claim to your own insurance carrier, even if it's been the other party is at fault. You still need to report it to your own insurance carrier as well, because there are certain time limitations within that contract.
And we talk about pictures. One of the important things is, remember, you have your cell phone. Take your cell phone out, take a photo of the other license plate. You take a cell phone of the other driver, take a cell phone picture of the accident. 1, 2, 3, you got a bunch of pictures, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Statements, though, to the other driver. Other statements out loud. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see the dog or the red light or those statements. Good to make, bad to make?
Well, you don't want to make any statement.
Nothing.
At the scene, no. Other than to tell the police officer what happened in the accident.
Okay.
Right? And then if you have been injured, make sure that you get the medical treatment that you need.
Okay, and that's important.
That is critically important, that you get the medical treatment
But
that you need.
But you know what? I'll give it a couple of days, Todd. I'm not that hurt.
It's
smart, foolish, real world.
It's real world. It's not. It doesn't kill the case if you have had to delay some.
Okay.
But I would encourage you, if you are feeling pain, to get treatment sooner rather than later. It's the #1 problem that I see in cases. People don't want to complain. I get that. Maybe they don't want to go to the doctor. Maybe they don't have health insurance. They're concerned about being able to pay these doctor bills, so they don't want to rush to the doctor.
Listen, it's the same reason they don't want to call you. They get into a car wreck, they may be a little sore, and let's be honest, they don't want to call an attorney because A, they don't want to complain, they don't want to sue anybody, and most people are saying, I mean, he's a great-looking guy, I can't afford him.
Right.
How am I going to pay for this guy?
Right.
How does this work? I mean, they don't want to do either.
Well, there's zero fee whatsoever associated with a consultation. I mean, every consultation is free, and I don't get paid unless and until we are successful on the claim.
All right, so let's walk through exactly how this works. If I want to call you up or I want to go to your website, if I speak to you on the phone, am I getting a bill?
No.
If I decide I'm going to come in and I'm going to talk to you and I want to take an hour of your very expensive time, do I get a bill?
Absolutely not. No.
I don't leave the office and all of a sudden a bill appears in my mailbox.
No, you're interviewing me for a job. I mean, if you want me to represent you, you have to be comfortable with me and trust that I'm giving you the right information.
All right, I hire you. You're going to help me get compensation. We're going to talk about the money that we're going to go for.
Right.
Okay. Am I getting bills every month, like an attorney, for every hour you do and every photocopy you make? And am I going to get bills?
No, not at all.
No bills?
No, nothing out of
How
pocket
does it
up
work?
front. At the end of the case, assuming that we get a successful resolution, I am paid on a contingency fee basis, meaning I am not paid until we get an outcome. So it is a percentage of the total settlement.
All right, so
or verdict. Or
all
recovery.
right, but let me play it the other side. We lose. What do I get? What do I have to pay you?
Zero.
Really?
Zero.
So you're putting your money where your mouth is?
Absolutely. My interests are absolutely aligned with my client's interests. We have to make sure that we are working together to get the best possible result.
So it's important, right? So people need to find out all the information that you possibly can. Let me ask you 2 or 3 quick questions that you need to be thinking about at home. Number 1, do you have a case? Do you have a claim? That's the first thing. The second thing that you'd be thinking about is, do you need an attorney or not? You may be thinking you don't, and there's no harm in having that consultation to walk through that, right?
Absolutely. I'm happy to talk to you to discuss your situation specific to you. It's confidential, it's privileged, we can discuss it, and we can assess it together.
Okay, and then third, what's it worth? If I do have a case, whether I hire you or not, I want to talk about the value. Will you do that with me?
Absolutely. That's the $1 million question.
And it could be more than that.
Right.
Yes, right.
Certainly could be.
Okay, so walk through big picture types of damages if we can. What would somebody get in a let's say a car accident?
Let's do it very kind of broad brush stuff.
Just the names of it, and then we'll go into details in a minute.
Well, there's compensatory damages.
What does that mean?
That means to compensate you for the injuries that you've received.
Okay.
Okay.
So like
to try to make you whole is what a lot of
my medical bills.
Medical bills, lost wages, pain, suffering, inconvenience, future medical bills, future lost wages.
Really?
If we can establish.
So if I
absolutely.
sue today and I'm out of work and we're planning on how much time I'm going to be out, and you're going to get that money now?
We have to get the proper support from the doctors to show that you are going to be out. But yes, we can calculate that, and we'll use economists. We'll use whatever we need to do to calculate that.
So it's not only what I've suffered to that point, but also future suffering.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned pain and suffering.
Yes.
All right, give me something else real fast. What about punitives? Ever play in?
Absolutely. It's got to be the right case. But if you're a drunk driver, something like that.
All right, so here's what we do. Let's walk down at ABCs and what the case is worth. You're watching Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfein on CW69.
Hey everyone, welcome to the A-List. I'm your host, Shannon Wiseman.
Treetop Adventure is 25 aerial challenges, including 5 zip lines.
There's a perfect place for man's best friend. It's the K9 Ranch.
So if baseball is your thing, Windward Baseball Academy is definitely for you.
Think I'll do okay? All right, I ain't scared.
I would like to welcome you all, Netherworld Haunted House.
The A-List, Sunday at 12:30 on CW69.
There are over 2,400 Georgians involved in car wrecks every day. Over 100,000 Georgians are injured on the job each year. Who's going to protect your interests when an accident happens? Not the insurance company. At Henningsen Injury Attorneys, we're here to help. You didn't choose to be injured, but you do have a choice in who fights for you. You deserve an experienced attorney with a proven track record of success. If you have questions or want to understand the value of your case, or simply need a second legal opinion, call us right now.
Welcome back to Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfein. We're talking with Todd Henningsen of Henningsen Injury Attorneys, one of Georgia's leading personal injury attorneys. Todd's here to help us understand what it is that you might be entitled to. God forbid you're involved in a personal injury matter. And personal injury essentially means that you were hurt because of somebody else's negligence, their failure to do something, or their malfeasance. They're doing something they shouldn't have done.
Absolutely.
Right? So driving drunk and smashing into you, negligence, we're going to get damages and so forth.
Far
right?
too common today. I see it all the time.
All right, so you mentioned all the compensatory damages and we mentioned some punitive damages. Let's walk through what they are, okay?
Okay.
Compensating somebody. Let's talk medical wages, all right? Am I entitled, if I get injured, to be paid for my medical bills?
Yes, but let's talk about medical bills. A lot of people are under the assumption that the insurance company is going to pay your medical bills as you go. But that is not going to be the case. At the end of your case is when they make a settlement offer or you get a jury verdict. At that time, you will pay your medical bills out of the settlement.
How do I pay for that then? The doctor's going to want to get paid.
There are doctors who will wait to be paid at the end of the case.
Okay.
You can use your health insurance, and there's specific reasons why you want to use your health insurance, or you can use MedPay if you have MedPay. But I will tell you, in these cases, it is getting more and more complicated in terms of how what I call the coordination of benefits between health insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, MedPay. how they all fit together, and we can maximize the value on your case.
So, I mean, you might have a situation where you go for medical care and the doctor now has a claim for his bill.
Right.
And then, you know, you think, well, I have to pay it, but if they use your services, would you negotiate to make sure, you know, I get my money and that, you know, you keep all the lions, you know, at some distance here?
Over the past 10 years, I have seen just a change in personal injury in that there's now a person who is going to get funds, and it seems like there's many people trying to grab at those funds legally, okay?
Right.
So my job is to legally keep them away.
Okay.
Keep them at bay, because every dollar I can save from that is a dollar that goes to my client. And that's the most important thing, is making sure that the client is compensated.
Now, you mentioned the medical bills up through the settlement, either the verdict or the settlement, but you also mentioned future medical.
Yes.
And that's for compensation for doctors and tests and medicine or things of that nature, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what about pain and suffering? Is that in the medical or is that separate?
That is separate.
Okay.
But when an insurance company will make what I call an aggregated offer, a total offer that includes your pain, your suffering, your inconvenience, medical bills, and lost wages.
Okay.
And a jury will make a jury determination that is aggregated of the total number.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So they're basically, when you're saying it's a full, you're getting the whole pie.
Yes.
Is how they're coming in, even though it's made up of a bunch of elements.
That's
correct. We got crust, we got cherry, we got topping, all this stuff, but they're offering you a cherry pie.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's a total number.
And you've got to manage all that.
Absolutely.
So we have pain and suffering. We've got medical bills. You mentioned lost wages.
Yes.
You mentioned lost time.
Yes.
Inconvenience.
Right.
Right? These are all things I can get?
Absolutely.
All right. What else can I get that, you know, I say, well, what else is on my list here? You mentioned punitive damages. What's that?
Well, let's talk about punitive damages. Punitive damages occurs in a situation in which the other driver in a car wreck situation or the other person shows what we call a conscious disregard for the rights and well-being of others. Okay?
Give me 2 or 3 examples when punitive damages are allowed.
DUI.
All right. Drunk driving.
Hit and run.
Ooh.
Hit and run.
What about fleeing from the police?
Yes.
What about racing?
Yes.
So if someone's being reckless and they cause injury, we could punish them.
Right, and that money goes to the client, okay? The money doesn't go to the state, doesn't go somewhere else. It goes to the client.
So if I'm injured by a drunk driver, someone's driving up Georgia 400 like we've seen way too many times, and God forbid I get injured, it's not only my medical wages, my lost time, my car, all that, we can punish that person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we're going to.
All right, let me ask you, I'm going to go through some myths with you real fast.
Okay.
All right. What do I need you for? Now that you told me all those things, I can just do it, right?
Well, we are just hitting the tip of the iceberg in terms of information on these types of cases. It gets very, very complicated in the practical application of everything.
But Todd, I'll call the insurance company and I'll tell the other insurance company, listen, I saw this TV show and you got to pay me, and they'll give me a fair offer.
Well, that's like watching a doctor show and saying now you can do the surgery.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
no, absolutely.
Absolutely,
but won't the other insurance company just do the right thing and make the payment?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Look, why? Why are you saying that so definitively?
Because you are a liability on their books. If they can pay you $1 to go away and you'll sign that release and go away, then
give me a real world example where the insurance company came up and offered a small amount and you ended up taking a client and getting them more.
Sure.
One example.
I had a client who called me as a result of this show, watching what happened, and she had been offered $1,000 by the insurance company.
Okay.
And we discussed it, and I said, come into the office. I want to see exactly what you're talking about. And she was trying to handle it on her own, and she thought they were going to treat her right. I said, this is absolutely an unfair settlement. I would never take this, because if she had taken that $1,000, she would have actually ended up with zero because health insurance was coming in and going to take the money from her.
They wanted it for reimbursement.
For reimbursement.
Okay.
We settled it for $24,000, and she netted far, far more, 10, 15 times more.
So it's 24 times the amount.
24 times the amount.
They offered $1,000, you got 24,000.
Right.
You have a situation where they've offered $1,000, you got 100.
I've had situations where they've offered zero, we get 74,000. They offered me $15,000. We went to trial. I got $400,000.
So really assessing what the case is worth and all the pieces, finding all the different insurance policies, stacking policies together, seeing all the different, what they call tortfeasors, anybody that may actually be liable, right? Because it may just not be only the driver, maybe the driver and the owner.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Maybe they're different, and you have to know all those things, right?
We had a claim where we went after the owner of a vehicle because the driver did not have any insurance, and so we were able to successfully pursue that. So
And everything, I guess, is so fact-specific.
absolutely, very.
Okay, so here's my advice to you. If you're watching the show and you say, you know what, I have a very unique situation, I want to discuss it with Todd, I encourage you to call the phone number on the screen, ask for the no-charge consultation, go into his office, do it on the phone, however it's convenient for you, but get the facts you need so you can make an informed decision. You want an inside deal on a car, truck, or van? Then you've got to watch Autoscoop on CW69. I'm Adam Goldfein. Every week we go to car dealers around Atlanta getting you the very best deals, and it's only on CW69.
There are over 2,400 Georgians involved in car wrecks every day. Over 100,000 Georgians are injured on the job each year. Who's going to protect your interests when an accident happens? Not the insurance company. At Henningsen Injury Attorneys, we're here to help. You didn't choose to be injured, but you do have a choice in who fights for you. You deserve an experienced attorney with a proven track record of success. If you have questions or want to understand the value of your case or simply need a second legal opinion, call us right now.
Welcome back to Lawyer Talk. I'm Adam Goldfein, speaking with Todd Henningsen. Todd, I want to thank you, by the way, for coming down and sharing your knowledge, your experience, and really offering to help the viewers with the matters that concern them.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
If somebody were watching the program and they were saying, well, I'm on the fence, I don't know if I have a case, I don't know what it's worth, I don't know if I need an attorney, what advice would you have if you were talking to somebody directly and they were saying, you know, I got hurt, what should I do?
Well, it's a risk-free phone call, meeting, come in, talk to me. Let's find out if you do have a case, and let's make sure that you're going to get consultation that you can trust and that you can go away with and say, yes, all right, I feel like I have gotten great legal advice on what's going to happen specifically for me.
Right, and I think that if somebody is interviewing, let's say, other attorneys, they should absolutely talk to you from a counterpoint, because you want to make sure that you have an informed decision.
And there's no pressure. I mean,
yeah,
there's no pressure. I mean, I want to talk to you and inform you about what's going on. And
well, you said it's a consultation.
It is. It's important that we discuss this so you know, and maybe there isn't anything that comes of it, but now you know.
Mm-hmm. So there's no harm in the phone call.
Right. Absolutely not.
And it's important. Let me just say one of the other things Todd mentioned that I want to bring up is that there is a sense of urgency.
Yes.
Don't wait on these claims to make the call. You can always decide after you make a call and you get the information that you want to do something or you want to do nothing. Right. There's no harm in it, and you should also never be embarrassed for pursuing your rights, because the law is set up and designed to help you simply be compensated for any injury that you may have suffered. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
Listen, I appreciate it again. Thank you.
Thank you
it's a
so much.
Pleasure to have you here. I'm Adam Goldfein. You've been watching Lawyer Talk on CW69.